you said you wanted to speak on gender roles and expectations in relationships.
Oh, yes, yes.
So what?
Oh, the juicy stuff. I love it. Well, yeah, I mean, as someone who was dating a woman for years, and yes, I was the more masculine one, if we're just wondering. It wasn't always like this. No, yes, she'll tell you. My sister.
Is it always like that? Like there's one masculine, one feminine?
You know, I would say 9 times out of 10, I think there is, but also I will say from where I'm at, because, you know, all different parts of the world, there's so many different types of people, and I would say where I'm at, New York, New Jersey, it's usually like that. You have the one feminine, one masculine, but I also, with years of, you know, dating women and not dating men, now that I'm with the man, I'm just like, okay, got it. Like, it's not only, I'm like, it's not really supposed to be like that, but I have seen like feminine, or even masculine, that's happened.
Right.
I've dabbled. Yeah.
Oh, isn't it amazing how women can just casually and fluently just move in between sexes? I dabbled. I was dating a man, then I dated a woman, and then I dated a man. But gentlemen, I want you to see the contradiction in the whole feminist movement that clearly highlights the conundrum, the cognitive dissonance that women have between being a female, disliking men, thinking men are less, but yet when she actually dates a woman, she wants that woman to be masculine, or she has to take the masculine characteristics. And I just found this whole discussion fascinating, and I just thought I'd bring it to you guys because it highlights a serious flaw in the whole feminist argument. And I just want you guys to see what I see. And let me know. If I'm wrong, by all means, let me know in the comment section. Like you guys always do, by the way. So my friends, like this one, this is going to be another piece of education by the older man and brought to you by the Whatever podcast. I love this podcast because it really, really shows what men have to deal with when it comes to females and dating, because it brings an eclectic mix of women on the panel, and it really shows the reality of what men have to deal with. So my friends, subscribe, like the video, and of course, by all means, look forward to my new kit coming out shortly. I am days away from it, where I'm going to bring you ready-made content ready for you to post that you can also sell yourself. Yes, we're going to get into the world of selling digital products. I want each and every one of you to have your own books, to have your own templates, to have your own products to sell digitally. When I'm finished putting these kits together, my friends, I am absolutely positive that this will benefit each and every single one of you. Okay? That's my little teaser. So let's get back into this video. So this is a woman who thought that she could go and become a lesbian, realized it's too tough. That's too hard for her to do. So she decided to switch back. Now, I want you guys to think about this shit, right? Imagine one of you guys saying, yeah, these women just driving me crazy, man. I'm going to go over to men. I'm going to take some D. I'm going to be the bottom. I'm going to date men now. And then when you realize, you know what? I'm not really gay. Let me switch back to women. How many women you think are going to accept that? Just let me know. Just let me know, my friends. But yet, women think that, I can go to women, I can go to men, and you must accept me for that. Woo! Man, the freedom women have is unreal. Let's hear what else she has to say.
Who pays on the date if you...
Let me tell you, I was going broke, so I would say...
Can I tell you all the questions you guys are going to have for her? I've grown up asking her, so I can understand.
Yes,
So
she's
why
still
do you
studying me.
think that is? Like, if you guys are women and you want to be with a woman, like, why is one trying to look like, or, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but why is one looking like a man or trying to look like a man?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I can't speak for all of us, right? But for me, initially, I felt as if I had to take on that masculine role, right? So that was also a lot of trauma response too. So if we're being real and diving deep into things, a lot of it was I felt like I had to be that man, set that good male example. So even if that means, you know, you're playing the part, you're playing dress up, like for me, that's what it was. And I wasn't able to be like in my feminine energy and, you know, as soft as I wanted to be. Don't get me wrong, still super masculine, but that was the thing. Now I'm a little bit more feminine. Yeah,
Were you playing that role before you met your, or was that after, or is that a discussion y'all had?
You know, with my current man?
No, with before the woman that you were dating.
Okay.
Like, did y'all discuss who was going to be more masculine? Who was?
Honestly,
I'm gonna tell y'all, no, that was a very natural situation. Watching it unfold.
If we're being honest, my father definitely raised me to be the little son, little boy. She was the girly girl, I was not. But also, I still, again, to this day, I'm super tomboy. I think I just pushed it a little bit more because I felt like that was what was right. It was comfortable, and you know, at a young age, I was like high school when this was happening. Easily impressionable. Everybody was like the fad. Everyone could do it. You know what I mean?
And I would just like to point out, like, again, this circles back to our topic about like marriages and things circling back to Christ, because like our mom raised us very Catholic in the church. God is everything. And our father was atheist.
Oh,
Probably still is.
Yeah.
So granted, they were married till her dying day, but that was also very confusing and affected us a lot in our decision making growing up, our personalities, especially partners that we've chosen.
Oh, that's a pile of crap. That's a pile of crap. That did not affect you. There's so many words that I've heard in there that just blows my mind, where women refuse to take accountability for any of their action. Number one, note the amount of giggling that's going on. Oh, you're the masculine one? It's unreal how other women accepts female behavior as it's just fun and joke, and it's so whimsical and it's so funny that a woman could just be who she wants. Oh, she can be masculine if she wants, and they can just discuss it with this light-hearted feeling. Imagine a bunch of men doing that shit. Yeah, man, you know, I just thought, you know, I'd experiment, and you know, me and Bob, you know, we had a good run, you know, but you know, he was just too feminine, you know, he was just too, I just couldn't take it, man. I was just paying for everything. It was just like a woman, you know. So and the rest of us are going, yeah, man, I understand. So you're gonna go back to women now, huh? Yeah, trying to find a good woman now. We would just look at him like, are you freaking insane? Are you insane? Second point, this is her sister, by the way, this other girl who's explaining this whole thing about one parent being a Christian and the other one being an atheist. This isn't unusual at all. I've seen many, many parents growing up who were not like this, right? They never openly discussed it. But even my father, he wasn't very religious. It's only until he was on his deathbed, he had liver cancer, that he decided to hedge his bet, so to speak, and converted, even though my mother was quite religious. And they stayed together until my father passed away first, right? But none of us came out messed up. None of us. Of course, my experience is not like her experience, but what I'm saying is that is no reason for her to then say, I'm going to become a lesbian. Nowhere in that equation would their parents' religion push them to be anything else. It had to be something else with a relationship that would want her to convert into. Or there had to be some ideology that made her feel that she could become sexually attracted to an opposite sex. Religion has nothing to do with that. Nothing. So this idea that she's trying to push the accountability and responsibility onto, oh, one of the parents were religious and that's what messed them up. No, that's BS. Drives me insane when I listen to women say this crap. Just take responsibility. You wanted to be a free spirit, and feminism told you that you could do whatever the hell you want. That's where the problem lies. All right, let's listen to some more giggling. Let's hear what else they have to say.
You know, I'm not with the father of my kids. We were together for 5 years. That didn't work out for various reasons. But the person I'm with now for the last 3 years, I mean, he's wonderful. He's like best dad in the world. Like, you know, their dad is still around, but stepdad for sure.
Oh, she has a simp. She has a simp that's taking care of the kids from her previous relationship. Go figure.
Sure.
The whole acting out the traits of the opposite sex is really interesting, because if you look at men, homosexual, who are attracted to the same sex, they start to almost present a caricature of a woman that even women don't even sound like that. It's like it's like a woman that's cast in like a TV show that's over the top, but then with the hand waving and the lisping and all of that, what's the equivalent for lesbians?
I got you. First with let's jump into.
Is it like crushing a can?
Sitting with your legs apart.
What do you do?
So first with the fashion, so it's the look, right? You gotta nail it, right? You gotta sell it.
Like Young M.A.
Yeah.
Hello,
so you look
goodbye.
like Rosie the Riveter. You're all like, let's go to the bar.
The snapback was a thing. It was a thing. We didn't sag the pants because that's not
white
cute.
tank top.
What? Listen, tattoo showing. I'm
Doc
like,
Martens, rolled up.
No,
50s
Jordans.
shoes.
It was
okay,
Jordans. It was Nikes. Yes, kept it cute. She would have.
Not my sister.
But also, it's just a matter of everything. Again, it goes back to wanting that male presence in your life to be that good example. So I'm like, okay, what would a good man do? Walk on this side of the street, pay for the dinners. Somebody looks at you crazy. I'm just like, what's up? We got issues. You know what I mean? And again, sometimes that didn't put me in the best positions in life, and but that's part of learning, right?
You said something really interesting when you were saying, I was pretending to be the masculine type. You said it was a trauma response.
Yes.
So you, in your masculine energy, that was a trauma response?
Yes, because I saw it as, again, when I was growing up, as my sister explained, like our father figure and stuff, I feel love him, but there were a lot of things that I feel he didn't protect us in ways that he had to, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't get the best version of him that we could have. So in moments where I felt like I needed it the most, when life is hard, high school, you're going through all these life changes, I was just like, all right.
Oh, I'm glad she realized that. That sometimes I didn't put me in the best positions in life. She realized that the role that the man has to play is a serious role. You cannot push your tits up at some guy going, yeah, what's up? Why you looking at my girl like that? What? Some man will box your head off. Can't be holding your crotch going and what's up with you? What's up? Try that confrontation with any average man on the street and you get your head taken off. I've seen so many of these butch-like women pretending to be men who get their asses kicked. Women have to become the weakest and worst version of a man in order to play the role of being the protector and provider for another feminine woman. Just let that sink in for a bit. Just let that sink in. That masculine one has to pay. Like she said, I was going broke because she get to feel what men have to go through. A woman cannot take on that role. If you guys remember the feminist journalist who thought that men had an easier time in life than women, and when she decided to take on the role, what's her name again? Let me ask ChatGPT. Are you familiar with the feminist, the journalist who took on the role as a man, masqueraded as a man for a year, just to try to prove that men actually had easier lives than women, that ultimately she self-deleted?
Yes, you're probably referring to Nora Vincent. She was a journalist who spent over a year living as a man and wrote about her experience in the book Self-Made Man. She wanted to understand male life from the inside. Ultimately, the experience took a significant toll on her mental health. While she didn't end her life immediately after that project, she did pass away years later. It's a complex and poignant story.
Nora Vincent. Women just have no clue how difficult it is to be a man, to hold the responsibility that men have. They think this shit is easy because we make it look easy, but we are designed to take on the role. That's why it looks easy. But feminism have told them and convinced them that they could be just like men. You could be just like a man. You could do whatever he can do. Now these women are now realizing, shit, no, this thing is hard.
Growing up, as my sister explained, our father figure and stuff, I feel love him, but there were a lot of things that I feel he didn't protect us in ways that he had to, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't get the best version of him that we could have. So in moments where I felt like I needed it the most, when life is hard, high school, you're going through all these life changes, I was just like, all right, I'll just do what I think I need to do. And also, there's a lot of that codependency in that relationship too, because...
Yes, let's blame poor old daddy. We're going to throw daddy under the bus. right in public. It's never our fault. It's always the man's fault. You can't make this shit up, man. I'm telling you. Oh, man. It just blows my mind every single time.
She kind of had a male figure that wasn't the best at the moment, and we're both trying to figure it out. But yeah, I think that's really what it was. Not to say that it wasn't real, the feelings weren't real. I think it's just I wasn't being real to myself.
It's really interesting, though, because feminism obviously pushes women in a masculine direction. It argues that they should prioritize masculine things. But on the flip side of the coin, feminism also waits for a woman to be hurt by a man. Then it jumps in the picture and promises everything. So a lot of times I'll go to colleges and I'll talk to these girls and I'll say, we've all had bad experiences with men in our lives. Every single guys have had bad experiences with men, but feminism waits at your doorstep and promises you the world to heal you from that trauma.
Who is this woman? Oh, man. She hit the nail right on the head. That's what feminism have done. And it doesn't matter what the issue is. Feminism is going to have a way to make you feel that it's a man's fault. Wherever you move, ladies, there is something wrong. You will always feel like you are a victim. Feminism waits for you. Whoever invented this insidious plan is a genius, but one of the most evil individuals that exist. Whoever started this, man. But women are losing big time. Whether they become a lesbian, whether they're straight and a feminist, it doesn't matter. They're going to lose. Anytime you go against nature, the natural order, there is nothing wrong with men being superior physically and given the ultimate role to protect the inferior female. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand why women are just constantly fighting nature. Look at these baboons right here. Look what happens when the baboons get attacked. Who do you think jumps out front to protect the herd? Is that what you call a herd? Is it a herd of baboons? I don't know. Maybe it isn't. I don't think it is, but I can't think of the right word right now. But the point is that it's the massive males who jump out to protect the whole freaking tribe group. Now you got me. Now I'm freaking wondering what a group of baboons are. Let me ask. How would you classify a group of baboons?
A group of baboons is called a troop. They're known for their complex social structures and strong group bonds.
A troop of baboons.
A cheetah, one of the fastest predators on Earth, closing in on a group of baboons. But just as it's about to strike, one brave baboon steps up, staring down the predator with fearless determination. The cheetah pauses, clearly thrown off by this unexpected challenge. Then, in an incredible display of teamwork, the entire baboon troop charges, forcing the cheetah to retreat empty-handed.
You know, this is the thing about knowledge, man. If I don't know something and I come up across something that just stumps me, I got to stop and find out what it is. Before it was the internet, I just literally had to type it. Now AI, keeps me sharp. But I digress. Look at how the males came out. The big ass males just attack because that is the hierarchy of the freaking troop. That is how it should be with the human species. But feminism have taught women, no, you should be in charge. Blows my mind every single time. I cannot see it any other way.
And it just seeps in at the wrong moment. And that's why I find feminism is so predatory on women who may not have had good father figures or have had traumatic relationships, or, women who grew up with a development of an attachment style trauma. If they had an anxious attachment develop because they were abandoned, or avoidant attachment develop because they were also probably abandoned. A lot of times girls with trauma will end up as feminists, and it's, and then be presenting as masculine because it's literally a predatory ideology.
There's also they used to study it more. They just coincidentally kind of stopped putting in the spotlight. But like early abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse used to be studied with both men and women, homosexuality, and they just kind of like, no, I was born this way. They kind of skip that aspect, and they're like, no, I'm going to just skip to I'm born this way, which doesn't make any sense still to this day, because can you imagine the doctor like raising the child and being like, it's gay? It's make sense. There's a lot more to these stories, but because it's been sold as like, I agree with you that sort of reaction. It's sold as empowerment. You're going to be a feminist and a lesbian, and then they just jump right into the role. But it's like that. That's why I wanted to ask you. Not that you could know this, but would you suspect there are other women who went through kind of similar thing as you, and they are essentially doing a kind of role playing? Yes. Not that you would confront them directly, that might not go well, but can you tell? You think you could tell?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. There's people that either like I've worked with in the past, just a friend of a friend, and usually those people are the one that are telling me their life story immediately. And just through that, if I'm a firm believer, all you got to do is listen to somebody for a few seconds to really get an understanding of who they are. And because I've been through it, they're talking, and I'm just like, yeah. So I would definitely say it's a thing, just from what they say, how they act about certain things, even bringing certain things up could be touchy. They get defensive, and I'm just like, yeah, that's all trauma.
Would you?
All right, listen. In every species, every single species, there is homosexuality. That is just nature. Science have discovered this 100%. Okay? Of course, they can't really say why, because every species literally exists because procreation has been the primary reason that every single species survived to this point. The only thing they determine is that homosexuality exists in all species in order to slow down the species being overpopulated. And listen, I'm only bringing you knowledge that I've read, okay? Because there are people out there who are not attracted to the opposite sex. And I've grown up with individuals from childbirth. One of the things about growing up in a small island is you get to be with an individual from the time they're kids. You go through primary school, high school, right through till you're old and gray in your 40s. And I saw boys who grew up with me, who I knew something wasn't quite right from the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, where I knew something's not right. They're different. I've seen boys who grew up like that, and then ultimately they were gay. They had no interest in women, girls from the time before they even understood what sex was. Okay? So I can see where certain people are born like this, because there's a significant difference between wanting a person of the same sex sexually and then loving another person where you are not attracted to the opposite sex. These are two completely different things. I've spoken about this before, but I want you guys to understand that there is a significant difference between someone acting homosexual or being attracted to someone sexually versus I am not attracted in a loving, caring way to the opposite sex. These are two totally different things. And you will see it when men fight trying not to be gay. I've seen men go through depressive states trying to fight their nature. Listen, I've seen men self-delete, because one thing you do not want to grow up with in the Caribbean, my friend, is that stigma, because other people will take you out, because there was a massive hatred for gays growing up. Oh, in Jamaica, they used to kill men. Batman, blood clot, and take him out. You don't even show that side of you back in the 60s and 70s. Don't dare do it. You'll be dead. It will not end well for you. But now we are here in this new age where women think that they could be as fluid as they want. And they don't. It doesn't matter. But the problem arises when they have become the worst version of men. And they're trying so hard to be men. I'm going to cover this a particular show in a couple of days. But I want to show the first part of it just to show you what women have to do to actually come close to the strength of men, who they have to become. And it's a group of bodybuilders who are competing against average men, just average men.
A guy like me will beat 90% of female bodybuilders no matter how big they are. But what about average Joes? Can they compete with women who train every single day?
Can we? Probably not. Let's try.
So today I'll be putting these two groups of people against each other in extreme challenges to see if someone like Doha can beat a female bodybuilder. Ready? Go! Can I get team captains? James. Okay, James and Jen. Competition number 1. Barbell back squat for 1 rep. Jen, who are you sending out?
I don't know. We haven't decided yet.
And if you watch that show and you listen to these women's voices, you would not be able to tell the difference between a male and female voice. The amount of steroids that these women had to inject themselves with in order to be as strong as men has literally given them full masculine traits. And these are elite bodybuilders, strong as hell. They put them up against just average guys who've never even been to the freaking gym. And you should see the competition. But that's coming up in a couple of days. But it's just insane that this is how far women will go to be like men. Because what other benefit would a woman gain by pushing her body to that point? Is it for men or is it for women? You tell me.
Say that women who are feminine are also healed or healthy?
Honestly, I would like to lean towards that because I would say I've been in relationships, whether it was male or female, that I just felt like I always had to be on guard. I had to be the lead, and it was too much. And I'm like, this is not natural. Then going into a relationship where I'm like, oh, like this is actually great. I like being able to just do my job and be a woman because like that's what I am, and it is healing. So I would definitely like to side with that. And yeah.
And like the trauma can put you, like as a woman, it can put you like one of two ways. You either have that kind of response where you dabble like sexually with like the opposite sex, or you're in the other category where you dabble sexually with the same sex, but now everybody gets it because you think that you're in your feminist power. You can just take control of your sexuality and give it to everybody. Like I subscribed to that when I was younger, and it didn't do anything for me. I had to like literally give my life back to Christ and like remember my roots.
That's one of the one of the most egregious from the feminist ideology is like it takes what's leverage for women, your sex, your virginity, your chastity, your virtue, and it flips it and says, no, that is your power. And a Christian says, yeah, that's partly is your power. But it says, give it away, basically give it away. Like, here you go. Like free. And again, there's a long process here. You go back to the 60s, there's a dedicated movement toward psychedelics, free love, concentrated effort to get that to happen. And lo and behold, just a couple decade or two later, the foundation of the home starts to wither away, and then women are like, I'm not having kids, like I'm not going to be a slave to the kitchen. Meanwhile, if you just kind of, it could be the case that the truest form of feminism is being a homemaker. Right. What if that was a form of feminism? If you watched the debate yesterday, I asked Oliver that. I said, is it possible that being a homemaker is the best feminism, right? Could it be redefined as like the best expression of women? And he couldn't combat it. It just happens to be the case, like you said, that like there's this like feminism produces a bunch of weak men impersonators. They're not even strong men impersonators. They're weak men impersonators. Yeah. And it's just not, I think it's, God willing, it's starting to fall apart now.
The other silly thing that feminism does is it makes women hold two completely contradictory ideas in their mind at the same time. And specifically relating to how they view sex, it's either super casual and I relate to it the same way that a guy does and it doesn't affect me at all, or on the other extreme, don't look at me the wrong way because you're sexist, I'm going to take you to court. And so if someone, and feminism is full of these, I'm writing a book right now called 100 Ways Feminism is a Failure.
I can't wait to buy.
It's going to be good, it's going to be fun. We go through a little bit of the history of feminism and uncover all the dirtiness, because most people don't even know that the suffragette was like equivalent to BLM in the amount of damage that they did to society, like physical arson, bombings, everything. But we also go through every single major contradiction that feminism holds at the same time, starting from I'm a woman, also there's no definition of a woman. Sex is not important at all and totally casual, and also I'm going to Me Too you at the first opportunity that I can. We go through a bunch of other stuff as well, but that's how feminism controls women. It literally makes them crazy because you cannot have two separate ideas in your mind at the same time, because you're going to be split between them, and someone's just going to be able to come in and insert whatever they think the truth is on you.
Make sure to add in the book the early contradiction of the suffragettes physically and basically any way possible shutting down what was the majority of women coming out to say we don't want this.
We don't want to vote.
They're like, no, you can't do a preliminary vote against your own vote, they like shut it down.
Yes,
which
no,
is
exactly.
a contradiction.
That's a huge part of it. And also, it's funny. You have Rosie on your shirt, and
Make me sad.
you know what's funny about Rosie? She worked for 5 or 6 days in the metal factory, and then decided it was too hard, it was too dangerous, and she left. She became a cellist after that.
And it's funny.
I would buy that book. Woo! Gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this particular segment as much as I did, because it's just great to see other women waking up and realizing this whole feminist push is a pile of BS. And I really need to get this information out to as many people as possible so that they can also spread the gospel, this new revelation, because that's how feminism did it. They literally just spread it out wide and far. But they had mainstream media on their side. But now that the internet is huge, much bigger than mainstream, I'm hoping that this turnaround will happen as fast as possible. Because I want to see women win, man. I want to see women win. No, I'm not trying to put women back in the freaking kitchen. But I want to see them become good wives, good mothers, and be able to lead society in a much better direction than it's going right now. Okay? So my friends, I'm going to end it right here. Subscribe, like this video on the way out, pick up my Content Creators Toolkit, and book a session if you need any help, my friends. Okay? So till tomorrow, remember, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.